sprint reviews. Again, all of these are actually called ceremonies. Sprint planning happens before the sprint. Sprint execution happens as the sprint is working. That's called sprint execution. The development work and the analysis and the design and the architecture, that's actual sprint execution. And then once the sprint is completed, which is after the end of 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever your time box is, after the end of the sprint, you actually do a kind of a review of how the sprint happened. What is the output? What is the outcome of the particular sprint? You show it to the customer, and then you can have a showcase or a demonstration to the customer at the end of that. And if they say, fair enough, then we can push it out. And then you also have something called as a retrospective, which is actually kind of looking back and understanding if three questions, again, three aspects. What went very well in the sprint? So the team actually discusses what did we really do well in the sprint in terms of the processes, the work, the tasks. And then the second point is what did not go well? What is it that we messed up with? And then the third one is how can we improve on this in the next sprint so that we don't repeat this? What are the kind of lessons learned, the best practices? So those are the three things that you actually discuss in the retrospective. So understand the sprint review is about the product review. You're trying to develop. That's called the sprint review. And then sprint retrospective is the process. What is the process involved in the whole sprint execution? So it is about the activities that we did. So you, again, just like the stand-up, in the stand-up meeting, we discussed what did we do yesterday, what are we going to do today, what are we going to work on today, and what are the problems, impediments, blockers, whatever you have, the hurdles. So you discuss those three things in the sprint, in the daily Scrum or daily stand-up meeting amongst the team that happens every day. Whereas the sprint retrospective is about the sprint that happened just now. And then all the team talks about three aspects. What did we do really well? What is the thing, what went really bad? Or what are the areas of improvement? Where did we mess up? And the third important thing is what are the lessons learned? How can we improve our processes so that we don't repeat those blunders again? These are things that are done every sprint, every iteration. You know why Agile works? Because of this, because it's a continuous improvement. You're not really discussing at the end of the project after 1.5 years or 2 years, but you're doing it pretty much after every 2 weeks. So you know you're constantly improving. That's called inspection. Again, one of the fundamental rules of Agile is inspection, adaptation, improvement. Inspection, adaptation, improvement. So that's the three pillars of Agile. We're going to discuss that next week in detail, but remember that this is the most important foundation for Agile. It's all about doing something quickly. Just do it. Don't worry about whether it's perfect or not. Just do it. And then you try and improve on that, change that. And then again, try and learn something from that. So that's the cycle. That's a continuous cycle of improvement that you have within the context of Agile. And then the program or portfolio, we've talked about the Scrum. Scrum is for a product, for developing, for example, in the context of the Agile development, the e-commerce website for selling mobile accessories, the example we are working on. In that thing, so you have that as a project. That is called one project, let's say. That is a product that you're developing on. But then if you look at it, the overall one, it could potentially be just one aspect or one small part in the entire program of this company. The company would perhaps like to have a SAP module built on the back of that to enable this order processing. So there's an SAP module which they're working on. Then they could potentially be working on integrating a CRM, the customer relationship management module, where they can get all the information about their customers into that, something like a Salesforce. So the Salesforce integration could be a third project. And the fourth project could be something else completely different. It is nothing to do with technology. It's about improving their business. So if you look at it, so that's the portfolio, that's a program. And within that program, we've got different other projects. So within each project, we can have Agile done, Agile implemented, and then we can have the overall program managed in a much better way. And that's why that is called program or Scrum of Scrums. We've got a lot of other technologies, other methodologies nowadays. It's called SAFE, Scaled Agile Framework, or you can also have DSDM, the Dynamic Systems Development Model. All of these are scaled models. They're for the large enterprises, for big teams, whereas Scrum is for a small team. Scrum cannot be implemented for a team which is like 20, 30 people. Scrum works really well for a team about 5 to 10 people. If you've got that kind of a size, it's an optimal size. If you get more than that, if you've got, let's say, 15 people, then they say that break the team into 2, 8 and 7, and then have 2 scrums.